All right, it's time for the star of the show. It's Lindsay Rhodes, host of NFL Total Access, the one who keeps everything in check. Not only do you have your own football opinions that you get out there, but you're keeping everyone else
all
in
of
check.
the crazy people.
That's a
Wrap
big
it up.
job.
Go. No. Now. Yes. That's my job.
This time of year, we're not playing games, and everyone loves to go to games or watch games. But this time of year is almost probably busier and maybe even more fun for you.
Yeah, I love this time of year. But I'm a dork when it comes to the draft. I like getting into all the minutia of it, and the mock drafts, and who we might take here, and what that means for the trickle down, and like the reporter aspect of it to me, trying to suss out all the information that I can. I love this time of year. And then the free agency is really fun too. I think the whole off-season title, where the NFL is concerned, is a total misnomer because it's just a different type of season, sort of. You've got like June, which is a little bit dead, and then you have like a week here and there sprinkled throughout the off-season. But other than that, it's actually really busy.
Yeah, it is. And even though the Vikings didn't have a ton of cap space going into this off-season, we still kind of made a big splash early on when we re-signed Anthony Barr, something you guys probably talk a lot about on your show. Did that surprise you?
It surprised me, just in that you don't typically see that type of thing happen, where somebody says, okay, so there's not enough money for me here, I'm going to go somewhere else, and seek out the biggest payday, and then just make an announcement of some sort, and then back out of that announcement to a degree. But then also the decision-making process, the way that he made it was somewhat different than a lot of people now. He's just like, I'm comfortable, I like it here, this feels right, I want to stay here, and there's value in that, even if it's not, the most money that I could possibly get. I think it was surprising in that sense, but also kind of not surprising, because I think we can all relate to the value of being in a good situation. Money at the end of the day, especially when you're talking about like, oh, it's a little bit more money, but it's all a lot of money. Like no matter what you sign for in the NFL, you're making way more money than the rest of us. So you're gonna be comfortable, and let's just make yourself happy.
Yeah. And I think you made Mike Zimmer happy by staying. So now this defense of ours pretty much stays intact, and it's a good young defense. All those guys pretty much are in their prime.
Yeah.
Can a defensive-oriented team still win in today's NFL, though?
I think absolutely, so long as the offense can hold up its end of the bargain.
Okay.
Like, I think as long as the offense is good enough, then a defensive-oriented team is probably what you're looking for. You're looking for like the best defense that you can put on the field with an offense that can at least put up some points. Because obviously that's the problem. Then you could keep them, if you can keep them out of the end zone, you figure every NFL team's going to put up like your best case scenario, you're going to score 10 points or something like that. If you hold them to 10 points, you have to be able to score more than 10 points. Right. So it just becomes kind of a dance like that.
Well, we think we can do that with Kirk Cousins and Diggs and Thielen and Dalvin Cook. Do you think we can?
I do. I was surprised last year that you couldn't. You know what I mean? Like that. So I'm questioning my ability to assess this situation, because what I saw on paper last year from the Vikings was something that I had higher expectations for. Yeah. So I know that injuries play a factor, and you just need to work on the depth and stuff like that, and bring in maybe some offensive linemen, and there are holes to fill, but to a degree, I expected more than I saw last year.
Well, but this is good. You've segued to one of the questions I wanted to ask you, actually, which I'm not surprised you were able to do that, because you segue for a living. Do you think there's something to be said about Coach Zimmer and Coach Zimmer's teams being better off when they're not expected?
Do they need the chip?
Great? Yeah.
They need to be able to have the rallying cry in the locker room. Like
Zimmer
everyone,
thing?
Oh, it's like a Tom Brady, like everyone hates us and everyone says we suck, and they need that.
Do you think there's something to be said for that with Coach Zimmer? Because if you look at division titles for Coach Zimmer in Minnesota, it's come off of seasons that didn't go very well the year before.
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe that's something for Coach Zimmer.
I'm going to use that on Total Access. We'll go look at this whole pattern that he's apparently created. I'm going to take your word for it.
Well, you've given me another reason to watch Total Access. Even though I don't need more, because I already watch it enough.
There you go. I mean, there might be. I think what makes people tick is different from person to person, and I think sometimes you have a team. You see this all the time when a team comes off the Super Bowl, where they win a Super Bowl and then there's the hangover the next year, and it doesn't totally make sense, and who knows what the psychology is, but maybe you spend the whole off season kind of feeling yourself, and maybe you don't get back to work as soon as you would if you felt like you had something massive to prove to everybody. And so maybe if you're the Vikings coming off of the year they had the year before that was more success than they had in years past, and maybe they kind of thought, okay, we got our big piece to the puzzle, it's Kirk Cousins, we're in, we're clicking, we're good. Maybe that was a factor partially.
Here's another factor too, our division is hard.
Your division is hard.
Yeah.
So just looking at next year, I was like, how do I think coming in here? I'm like, let's look at the NFC North. So you know what you're talking about. I have no idea what to think about that division.
It's hard.
Because if the Lions figure things out, the Lions have pieces too, right? So last year also surprised me a little bit, but with a new head coach, you never really know what to expect. So if for whatever reason there's more buy-in this year to what Patricia's doing, or if year two just like something clicks for them there, then the Lions have pieces to be competitive. And right now I kind of slot them at 4, you know, but with full knowledge that they could be much better than I expect them to be. The Bears, I would slot them in at 1, but then there are question marks there too with Fangio leaving.
Sure.
You know, I don't know what that means for the defense because he's good.
Very good.
So you take him out of the mix and you assume that they would put somebody in there that can, you know, pick up the ball and run with that, but I don't know. I don't know. And then you guys in the Packers. And the Packers, as long as they have Aaron Rodgers, it's like you know, I'm always going to consider them a contender, no matter what they have around Aaron Rodgers. It could be Aaron Rodgers and like a bunch of dudes, you know?
Right.
And I'll be like, sure, they're in it, right?
Yeah, this has been the bane of our existence for a long time. Now, this is a big problem. So on Total Access, you guys could talk about the NFC North. That could be a whole show.
Are you suggesting that it should be?
Maybe. Another reason for me to watch.
I mean, it's a long off season.
Right.
We'll be doing that today.
Okay.
So
A+ stuff from Lindsay Rhodes. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.